everyone, welcome to the Chrissy B Show, and I'm your host, Chrissy B. And as you may know, this is a show that's dedicated to your mental health, well-being and success. So for many it is exam season, so what better time to discuss stress, one of the most common and difficult feelings to understand. Helping us to do so today is our resident psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang, who will be going through some of the most common causes and treatments of stress. Then I'll be hearing from today's special guest, Izabella Niewiadomska, who'll be telling me how she managed her stress and panic attacks through good health and nutrition. We'll also be hearing from nutritionist Laura Southern, who'll be giving us some tips on how to reduce stress through your diet, as well as giving us a delicious recipe for a quinoa salad, great for balancing blood sugar and reducing stress. Then at the end of the show, we feature bereavement charity Grief Encounter as our good cause of the week. According to research undertaken by HSE, the Health and Safety Executive, 11.7 million working days were lost due to stress last year. It accounted for 37% of all work-related ill health cases and 45% of all working days lost due to ill health. Stress is more prevalent in public service industries such as education, health and social care, public administration and defence. But what is it that gets us so stressed? Some of the main work factors including tight deadlines, too much responsibility and a lack of managerial support. Well, we wanted to hear what gets you stressed, so we took to Twitter. Heads Together say more than 1 in 5 workers have called in sick to avoid workplace stress. Has this affected you? Jenny says being genuinely happy and in a good headspace, free of stress, is seriously the best feeling. Couldn't ask for anything better. What I Feel say, surround yourself with those who bring out the best in you, not the stress in you. Dookie says, I'm trying to eat good and be stress-free, but instead I've got dark circles big enough to be their own planet and barely enough money for a kid's meal. Sorry to hear that. And Millionaire Mindsets say, don't stress, do your best, forget the rest. And Danielle says, you should never stress over someone who doesn't make an effort to be in your life. Well, thanks for all your views. So now let's head over to our psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang, for her opinion on the matter. Welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
So all about stress today.
Yes.
What would you say are some of the common causes?
Well, it always used to be major life changes, and I think that still holds true, but there are a few extra ones that have come along in the recent kind of last few years. It used to be things like moving house, changing jobs, getting married, having children, getting divorced, grieving, bereavement, that sort of thing. And the sad part is, it's worse when those things are A, unexpected, or B, coming at the same time. And actually, when you think about what they are, a lot of them might come at the same time. If you are maybe having children, you might be moving to a bigger house. You might have also recently got married. So you've got those 3 things playing together. If you have maybe lost your job, again, you may have to move house, same sort of thing. So stress comes to us when life changes and we maybe weren't expecting it, or perhaps didn't want it to happen, or did want it to happen, but suddenly there's all these new demands placed on us. Yeah. But unfortunately, in the world that we live in today, there's also an awful lot of comparison that goes on. So we see what other people are doing, what other people have, and it's that feeling of, oh, I'm not doing quite as well as so-and-so's doing. And whereas it used to be we can look at the newspapers or we can go and watch a film and think, wow, aren't they doing well? But then you think, well, that's their job, they've been doing it for some time. When you go onto a social media network and see your friend who's just done something amazing, you can sit there and think, oh, am I wasting my life? Am I not actually doing all of those things?
And these things are very subtle, aren't they? You don't kind of realise that it's becoming an issue.
We are living in a culture of comparison at the moment, and with that comes a culture of expectation. We place expectations on ourselves, we place them on our partners. We also place them because of the social media that we're trying to put a brand across almost. We're trying to say that, yes, I'm married and I have the best marriage, or I'm in a job and I'm the best at my job. And that's a real problem, because you've got to ask, well, who are you actually doing this for? And a lot of the time, if you really genuinely ask somebody that, they don't really have an answer. But yet we continue to do it. And then we continue to look at other people, and then we judge ourselves by that particular yardstick, and that's a real problem.
Audrey, are there some people more prone to stress than others, would you say?
Yes, there can be certain physiological responses which might make us feel stress a little bit more strongly, but on the whole, it can depend on the environment that we live in. So if we are living somewhere where no matter what we do, say, we just find it very difficult to get out, or no matter how much we try, it's our friends or our family who are keeping us within our station or within our place, that can be quite difficult. Also, if we're never taught skills of resilience and never taught to get up again when we fail, that can be a real problem. And it's something I've always taken to task is when you have schools where they say, well, everyone gets a medal for taking part. I understand the principle of that, but you're not actually teaching that child that there can be competition, and if you don't come first this time, you can come first next time if you work a little bit harder or if you try again. And this whole idea of being able to go back to the drawing board and start that again is really important. It's not often taught when we're young, or not often taught as much. And if we are actually told that, or we learn that it's the effort we put in and what we do, and we might learn two things. One, that we can get better, and there's a whole sense of achievement that comes with that. Or two, sometimes those things may not be for us, and that's another thing that we can. And actually stopping something can be just as brave as carrying on with it. And if we carry on with something that we really don't like, again, that's another cause of stress. So I think it's a lot of sort of resilience skills that need to be taught.
Now, obviously, everyone goes through a little bit of stress at some point in their life. So when is it actually too much, and when you know, okay, now I need to get help? What would you say?
Two things. One, if it is affecting your physical health. Simply if you are suffering from stomach pains that can lead to stomach ulcers. If you think about the analogy I always use is it's stretching an elastic band. If you're placing your body under stress, you're pulling that elastic band really, really taut, and one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to break, or it's going to not be able to spring back, and it will just sort of remain quite flaccid, and that's not how you want your body to be. So if you notice changes in your own sort of physical systems, especially the bowel. It's always said the bowel's almost got a brain of its own. So if you are finding difficulties either way when it comes to bowel health, that's often an indicator. The words of other people are really, really important as well, because you may think you can do everything. And I always say to people, if you have more than 3 priorities, you do not have priorities, you have a to-do list. And going back to culture, we have a bit of a culture where it's almost a badge of honour to be busy. And so if you say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the other, you've got to stop and think, what is the quality of the work that you're actually producing when you're doing all of those things? Because if it's not what you would be proud of, then you are spreading yourself too thinly. So it might well be other people noticing that maybe your work isn't quite what it was, or it might be that someone says that you snap quite a lot, flying off the handle, or it might be you're turning to dysfunctional coping methods such as drinking, recreational drugs, comfort eating, and so on. So those can be the indicators, either you realising it in yourself or somebody else saying to you, hang on a minute, I think that's a little bit too much that you're doing here.
And if you have gone down that road, what can you do then to pull yourself back?
You can seek professional support. That's often a good thing. I know the difficulty of that is a lot of people will say, well, I just don't have time for that. And I've said this on a previous show, if you don't make time for it, your body's going to make you make time for it. So
it's very true.
Do get some support. But actually mindfulness techniques are really important, and that helps us kind of become a lot more aware of ourselves and how we're feeling, but also it allows us to appreciate what we have a lot more. There's a lovely quote from G.K. Chesterton who says that contentment is a little bit like agriculture. It's about getting as much as you can out of what you've got. And I think that's really lovely, but he goes on to say it does take a lot of work. And with mindfulness, we become more aware of what we've got. We might just appreciate, I don't know, the warmth of the sun as we're driving somewhere, or the blueness of the sky. And I know that sounds a little bit, hug a tree, but
I love all that stuff.
I do. I think it's wonderful, and it's so important, because what it does is it stops us looking at other people and starts looking at our own world and our own environment. And that's where actually, we have a lot more control over what we do and how we take it, how we interact with it. But also, when we can start appreciating things, we stop looking for something which we might not ever have or may not ever make us as happy as we think it's going to make us.
Exactly.
It's not a case of saying, well, if I achieve this goal, I'm going to be happy. It's about saying, well, look at what I've got at the moment. What makes me happy right now?
Brilliant advice. Audrey, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so some research suggests that a high intake of dairy foods, including milk, can influence the process of stress in the body. So with that in mind, Daniel Shine gives us a delicious recipe here for a creamy carbonara sauce minus the dairy.
Hi everyone! If you love cheese but it doesn't love you back, then this recipe is for you. I have created a delicious cheesy sauce minus the dairy. It tastes great with vegetables, pasta or noodles. I can't wait to show you this one. So come and join me in the kitchen and let's get started.
Dairy-free cheese sauce is incredibly good for you when made with real food ingredients like the ones in this video. Packed with protein, healthy fats and B vitamins, this sauce is sure to impress. Soak raw cashew nuts in drinking water overnight before draining the next day. Then combine with freshly chopped garlic in a food processor with extra virgin olive oil together with a little sea salt and the key ingredient, nutritional yeast. Different to baker's yeast, nutritional yeast is inactive and used as a food with a cheese-like flavour. Blend everything on high until ingredients soften and resemble a thick, creamy sauce. For a thin, runnier sauce, add more warm water in small amounts at the very end until you reach your preferred consistency. Mix the desired amount with your favourite cooked pasta, rice or vegetables to create a nourishing, cheesy meal that won't mess with your health.
Thank you very much to Danielle. Well, after the break, I'll be hearing how Izabella Niewiadomska managed her stress. But first, how many of us are regularly experiencing sleepless nights due to stress? Is it A, 33%, B, 43%, or C, 73%? Find out after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your TV program for all things related to mental health and well-being. Now, before the break, I asked you how many of us regularly experience sleepless nights due to stress. Is it A, 33%, B, 43%, or C, 73%? The answer is a third of us, 33%. Well, here to share her experiences is Izabella Niewiadomska. Hello, Izabella.
Hello.
Lovely to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So there was a point in your life when you were very stressed, but can you tell us about the panic attacks that you started to have first of all?
Well, it was really strange because I thought I was just living a healthy lifestyle. I was full of energy, but unfortunately I was doing lots of things that probably were not serving me well or my health.
Okay,
I was working as a journalist, and I was just always under pressure, running after deadlines, smoking probably too much, drinking probably too much, and always saying yes to people. I was working in a male-dominated environment, so the pressure was quite high, and I wanted to prove that as a female I can still deliver. And I think
you weren't taking regular breaks, things like that, taking time out for yourself. No. And although I was eating quite healthily, obviously the other things that I was not that I was doing were not really working well. Okay.
I wasn't sleeping enough. That was the major thing. I wasn't taking enough supplementation. I wasn't really taking care enough of myself.
Did you get any warning signs though? Was it just like, out of the blue?
When it happened, I was actually abroad on a business trip. It was cultural festival, and suddenly my body started to get numb. Wow. I felt like I have no air, I had no way where to escape, and I wanted to cry for help to my friends, and I couldn't speak.
Oh, that must be so scary.
My tongue went completely as hard as a piece of wood, and then I woke up later in a hospital. In another country, I didn't speak the language. Translator was explaining what happened to me.
Yeah.
And then I just sat down on this bed in the hospital, and I realized that, wow, was it worth it? To rush to build my career, to do everything to prove myself, and to lose my health on the way.
So had you made that connection immediately, like
Yes.
to the fact that it was your lifestyle?
Yes. I suppose I'm quite analytical person, so I just instantly started to question, so what happened? How did I get there?
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, those panic attacks, they didn't end with the one incident. I had afterwards quite regular ones. And every time I was in the hospital, every time.
Really?
Yes,
Wow,
it was really
severe.
dramatic. So it was not that I was just, having a bit of an anxiety attack. It was always, my body was almost shutting down and I was just ending up in a hospital.
But after the first panic attack, Izabella, had you made any changes? Or,
Yes.
But still you were having them
Yes.
for a while? Okay.
I think it was the fear that started to build up. And the minute I felt a little bit strange or lack of fresh air or closing kind of room environment, a bit of claustrophobia. At my worst point, I didn't even want to leave my house. I was afraid that I can go out and I might get a panic attack.
Yeah, because you're very vulnerable if you're out on your own, you don't have friends
Exactly.
or family around.
So I was on heavy medications initially. I didn't like them because obviously they were creating side effects. And I was prepared to do anything to just not to go back again to the hospital. And so I discovered natural remedies, herbs, and I was like this little witch in the kitchen, brewing herbs, 5 minutes this one, 10 minutes that one.
But why did you go down that road in the first place? Had you tried maybe some other things that hadn't
Someone
worked?
recommended to me.
Okay.
And so it was really recommendation, and I was prepared, as I said, to try anything, but I didn't want to be on medications anymore. I knew that obviously for instant relief they were essential, but I didn't want to be constantly on them.
And depend on the medications.
Exactly, or depend on them.
Yeah.
And I started to read a lot, study nutrition, practice meditation, yoga, so many other things that could help me to calm down. But probably the biggest breakthrough in my learning how to help myself and then how to recover my health was to appreciate how food, how nutrition, how sleep, and all the little things combined together, we call it a lifestyle, how they actually affect our health, well-being, and especially stress. And I realized the stress is here, but it's also physical. So to change my state, I needed to do some action in addition to all the little things that I started to do.
So we kind of underestimate the impact that these things have, and you sort of think, oh, if I have this bad food now, it's not going to build up. But eventually it does build up, and it's adding on to everything else that's going on.
I think we kind of live under the illusion that that our body is one thing, mind is another thing, and food is completely different thing. But at the end of the day, our whole body is built from molecules that we get from food, from water, from fluids, and from the pollution, from the air. And that's how we are. So whatever we put inside, it's really vital.
So what actual changes did you start to see when you started to put these things into practice?
It's just the attacks were obviously less frequent. I regained more balance and control. And
did you change your job as well, or did you stay? Oh, you changed it. Okay.
I decided to quit my career, moved over to the UK 27 years ago. Had no idea what I would be doing, but obviously my passion for nutrition was leading me towards obviously this profession that I'm doing right now as a health coach and lifestyle strategist. And I've been working as in this profession for 25 years right now.
Well, you must love it then.
Oh, I love it. Because once you experience something, you learn, and then you are happy to help other people and pass it on, this information. So I'm really happy that I could contribute in some way to people's lives.
Tell us a bit more about the impact that it's had on you personally, this change of lifestyle. How do you feel about yourself now and what you're achieving?
Well, initially, I was always a very brave person, very adventurous, but it just kind of holded me back. And I realized that things important for me were not anymore maybe more the flashy and glamorous things, but the security, the safety, the peace, the equilibrium in my life, to find this inner peace we talk about a lot. And I'm really happy that I discovered that without losing now my adventurous side, which is really great, because we have to live life fully.
Yes, I agree.
And I've been really privileged that through things that I've learned, I've managed to overcome lots of fears and challenges. I mean, through this stress, I developed fear of flying, a fear of lifts, so I could climb the 13 floors. So I just didn't go into a lift. And now I can do all those things. And it's so liberating. You feel truly free that you have a control of your body. And I think that's so powerful.
Okay. Izabella, I'd like you now to give some advice for our viewers. So first of all, if someone wants to actually start this healthy lifestyle, you're still a different way of thinking about things, what maybe could they start practicing immediately? Think small changes that they could make, because obviously sometimes it's quite hard to change everything at once, change your diet, start exercising. It can be a bit overwhelming, and some people might think, oh, I can't do it. What can maybe someone start with, would you say?
To be honest with you, everybody is already doing the things they should be doing. The whole point is just to master it, improve it, and to know how often, how frequently, how much of that. So for example, there are 7 steps to health and well-being, or the healthy lifestyle that I call it. And the first one starts with breathing. And we are breathing, we are alive, so we know how to breathe. But there are obviously skills and certain ways how you can breathe for energy, for performance, how to give more impact for your health.
Can you give us an example?
Well, the one of the things is people think that they know how to breathe, but when you breathe, think of like blowing a balloon. Your tummy should stick out because the air goes in. And most people, they actually suck it in. So if you want to have to take breath in, most people say, and they are just holding like that. But actually, when you breathe in, you should just, and the tummy goes out because it's like a balloon. And then when you release the air, you just empty everything.
Wow, okay.
And you hold it because so there are little details. They're fascinating.
We're not going to have time to do it all on the show, guys.
Well, another thing is just drinking fluids, water. We already know about hydration. It's just choosing what is better to drink. And water, there's nothing better than water to put into our bodies. However, people don't like water. So I teach them, add some lime, lemon, some cucumber skin, and make it more even with ginger, with some little things that kind of makes a change, but it still gives you the benefit of pure water. Yeah. And obviously nutrition. But the key element is just to have breakfast. God, 48% of adults in the UK, they don't have breakfast at all.
I love breakfast.
And in the morning, trillions of your cells, they're screaming, please feed me, give me food, give me just so I can take you through another day again. But we kind of neglect that side and we expect the body to perform. But imagine taking a car and driving on a reserve and going on a trip. I mean, how far can you go?
Not far at all.
Exactly. So there are little simple things. Obviously, the benefit of sleep.
Yes.
I'm really keen on activity, but it needs to combine as well with nutrition. Sometimes people focus only on exercise activity, but they forget that once you put your body under stress, you need to also fuel the body properly and refuel and give the body what it needs at this certain time. So I think those little things, it doesn't mean that you have to change or turn your life upside down. It's just tune in, adjust, and learn this. I mean, like they say, everything is in the detail. So once you get those little details, once you master those 7 steps or fundamentals to your health and well-being, everything is simple. Even controlling weight. I mean, there's so many people who will try to control weight or to lose weight, but it's not really complicated. And you don't have to go on quick fixes because they don't work. No, they do what they're supposed to do. They fix you quickly for a short period of time.
So what's the best thing to do then?
But if you would like to have lasting results, it's really about mastering your lifestyle habits.
Okay.
So when you wake up, you need to hydrate your body, feed your body, you sleep well, you get active. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym. People say they have no time. Simple brisk walk, and it's done.
Yeah.
So it's a simplicity. I try to bring, the book that I'm finishing, it's going to be released soon, is called Stop Dieting, Start Eating, How to Look Delicious, Think Nutritious and Spice Up Your Life. So just live life fully. And it just really cuts out the confusion, bring the simplicity, clarity, what to do and how to go through the day without just making silly mistakes. Just being confident.
Yeah.
I love food. I just came back. I love ice cream, I love tiramisu, and I do have that when I want to, but I have the balance, and I know how to combine those things together. So I think it's all about balance in life, and the same when it comes to our stress levels, to mental health. It's just finding the balance with the things that we do and improving our lifestyle habits, because then it's just really important. And one more thing, I call it intelligent supplementation. Unfortunately, according to the World Health Organization, we cannot give anymore the body everything that it needs just from the food we have. The quality of food has changed. Poor nutrition is a global problem. We have to supplement. We need to add additional ingredients, vitamins and minerals that will support our health. And sometimes we don't do it in a clever way. So knowing how to supplement, I call it intelligent supplementation, is also a key element and part of your healthy lifestyle.
Okay. Izabella, you've been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all your tips. And I'm so happy that you've changed everything in your life and that you're so happy today.
I'm very happy.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, everybody, after the break, we have on Laura Southern, who'll be giving some top nutrition tips for reducing stress. But first, can you answer this? Who is more prone to suffer from stress-related disorders, men or women? Tune in after the break to find out. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where today has been all about stress. Now, before the break, I asked you who is more likely to suffer from stress-related disorders, men or women? Well, the answer is actually men. According to VCall, women are better at dealing with emotional issues than men. So as we heard earlier from Izabella, getting the right nutrition is vital for reducing stress. So we just had to get nutritionist Laura Southern back on to give her tips. Hello, Laura, and welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me. Hi, Chrissy.
So tell us a bit about nutrition and the link to stress and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, stress is probably one of the most common things that I see in my clinic. It's one of the things that's quite hard to tackle as well.
Okay.
What happens in your body when you're feeling stressed is actually you're going through some biological processes. So you're feeling stressed in your everyday life. Maybe there's stuff going on at work, stuff going on in your home life, but your body can't tell what kind of stress it is. So your body thinks that what's happening to you is you're being attacked by something or you've got to run away from something. So when we're in periods of stress, our body is in this fight or flight mode. You get this surge of adrenaline. And then we have a hormone called cortisol, and its job is to refuel your body once you've kind of fought something or run away. And because of that, it does a few things. So the first thing it does is make you hungry. It gives you cravings. It wants you to put back in your body all the energy that you've used. And then it does something else. It raises up your blood sugar, which then makes you have insulin, which then makes you store fat. And the third thing it does is make you store fat around the middle.
Okay.
So if we were hunter-gatherers, people that are like, you know, always hunting after wild animals or running away or fighting people, that would all be fine. We wouldn't have any issues with stress causing us problems with our body. But because of our modern life, we're not actually physically using our energy. We're sitting in the car, stressed about traffic, we're sitting at our desk emailing, worrying, we're lying in bed at night thinking about all our family things, and we're stressed and we're stressed. But the body can't tell that we haven't been using up the energy. So we're still having cravings, we're still storing fat. And that's one of the hardest things that I find for my clients who are trying to lose weight but who are kind of under this chronic stress, which modern life, so many of us are. It's really difficult to shift weight, and they carry the weight around the middle.
Wow. Okay, wow, so interesting.
It's really interesting. But there are things that you can do.
Yes, how can we correct this?
So we can correct it. So one of the stresses on the body is if you're not eating properly. So that is a big stress. You know, the body doesn't know where its food is coming from, it can't regulate its blood sugar. So the first thing I always say to my clients who are under stress is, you know, the life stress is difficult for a nutritionist to manage. I can't help you with that so much, but I can help you with the physical body stress, the food. And it's all about balance. So it's about eating 3 regular meals a day, making sure you've got protein, really good fats, lots of vegetables, and making sure that you're timing your meals kind of, you know, not having massive gaps between meals. You know, people who are working so hard and they're skipping meals. It's not doing that. It's making sure there's breakfast, there's lunch, there's dinner, maybe there's a snack. And that way your body, your blood sugar is regulated, and that stress can lower in the body, and you can start kind of losing weight, feeling better, and feeling more in control.
Okay, are there particular foods that are good as well? And actually you'll be making something for us today, won't you?
So I'm going to be making today something that is easy, and I kind of get all my clients eating, and it's that nutritionist kind of staple and cliche of quinoa.
Okay.
But why I like this is because quinoa is really high in protein, and it also has some carbohydrate in it. And if you're having protein and carbohydrate together, it's very good at helping balance blood sugar.
Okay.
We're also going to put some good fats in there, which again is very, very good for hormone health and helping kind of manage blood sugar as well. So there's olives in there, there's avocado in there. Okay. And then we're going to stick in lots of nice veg just for health.
Just a question about the quinoa though. I thought it isn't a carb.
So it's actually a grain, but it's high protein. It's a very high protein grain.
Is it better than bulgur?
So it's better because bulgur is wheat, and wheat can raise blood sugar quite quickly.
Oh, that's so
whereas
interesting.
quinoa
I need
doesn't.
to get more of this stuff.
And this is great because once you've mastered the art of cooking it, and what I usually tell my clients and what I do myself is often buy the pre-cooked stuff because that's so much easier. But once you've done that and you can, chop a few veg, you've got something that can be lunch for 3 days. It stores in the fridge really nicely, and then you haven't got that stress of what am I going to eat for lunch, where am I going to get my healthy food from. And it's just so easy because you can just tuck anything you like in it that tastes nice. Roasted veg.
I should definitely put this on my shopping list for next time.
Do it.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is just take quinoa like so and just chuck it into your bowl. So I have pre-cooked this.
Yes.
And then it's a case of just chopping up veg really. So olives are great because the good fats in them, so it's very, very good at helping.
Is there a difference nutrition-wise between the green and the black olives, would you say, or is it?
So it's to do with ripening on the tree, but if they're really, really shiny black, then that means they've been dyed. So actually you don't want those ones. But if they're kind of the more purpley ones that look a bit more natural, that's fine. But I think it's...
Well, I get mine off my mummy's tree in Cyprus, so I know
I was going to say, you probably
the real deal.
I think, is it green that they haven't been as ripened for as long, or is it the other way around?
No, it's actually, there's some, I don't know actually, because I just get them, she just hands them to me, but I know they're different types of olives. They're from, they're different trees and different types, so I have to ask her about that actually, but I'm pretty sure they grow green.
I think they might grow green if you keep them on the tree for longer.
I'm not sure. I'll have to. Very good question.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll find out, guys, and I will let you know.
Speak to Mummy B.
Now I'm intrigued all these years.
Exactly. But this is really easy because it is just a case of sticking in loads of veg. I'm putting cucumber in here because it's a very easy kind of salad vegetable. We've also got some really nice fresh spinach leaves. And spinach and any green leafy veg are absolutely brilliant in stress management. They're high in B vitamins. And B vitamins are the vitamins that just kind of get used up so quickly when you're a stressed person, and you're feeling then often, if you're stressed, quite fatigued, quite tired, and boosting your B vitamins is brilliant. Just chuck those in there. We've got some sunflower seeds here. You can use any seeds, any nuts in this, as long as they're, in their pure state, so they're not deep fried and salted. These are sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, sorry. Again, these are brilliant because as well as B vitamins, they also contain magnesium, which is very calming, very, very good, especially if you're a stressed person that finds it tricky to sleep. These are, really great to have seeds.
Chuck those in as well.
Chuck them in. It's loads, but it gives it
crunch. Already,
yes, that'd be lovely. No, stirring is good. Tomatoes, just, colour, taste.
Nutritional benefit.
Yeah, I mean, vitamin C, tomatoes give you lots. Probably in terms of stress, I'm not sure they're gonna do wonders, but they look nice in a salad and they taste good. And that's what this is all about, really, is just chucking in stuff that you like. So if you don't like tomatoes, don't stick them in. So
and they can make things go a bit soggy, can't they?
They can. With this kind of salad, what's nice about it is because quinoa absorbs water, it doesn't really tend to go soggy.
Oh, okay. I was actually going to ask you about that because I find that sometimes when I use bulgur or other things like that, it does kind of get all wet. And
I find that this actually just lasts really nicely in the same kind of consistency. I think it's because they just soak up the water, the grains, so it kind of
I don't know why I stopped eating quinoa. I was eating it for a while and then I just switched to bulgur because I love bulgur as well because that's kind of like a staple from Cyprus, so I love having that. But I do like this as well, that kind of peppery kind of taste.
Yeah, I mean it can be a bit bland as well. And again, avocados are brilliant for helping regulate blood sugar. Essential fats as well. And they can when you're very stressed, you can get these, really high sugar cravings, and avocados have been shown, especially if you eat them at lunchtime, to help reduce the afternoon sugar cravings. So
I have never seen an avocado cut this way. That's very interesting.
It's probably not how a chef would do it, but it's how I always do it. And I eat avocados most days.
But it looks really, it was
if
quick.
It's soft, it's exactly.
Yeah.
If it's soft, it's how I do
Okay.
mangoes as well. Just kind of like a hedgehog.
You what?
If I'm doing mangoes
Oh,
as
mangoes.
well. Yeah,
Okay, I
it's
have
like
to
a
try
hedgehog.
that. I'll probably flick it all over the kitchen instead.
It does have to be a soft avocado, but it kind of comes out
Okay.
easily. Yeah, so it's kind of done really. Just I'll stick a bit more in there.
Now, could you eat this any time of day? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, anything?
I have never had it for breakfast, but that's not to say you couldn't. It's actually a really nutritiously balanced meal.
I'm a bit weird like that.
No,
We'll
it's
have things
really
anytime.
actually a good thing to eat for breakfast because you're getting all your food groups in one go, so it's great.
Okay.
And then we're just going to chuck in olive oil, lemon juice, salt, pepper to taste, kind of anything you like.
Even if you're not going to eat this immediately, can you still sort of put the olive oil in, or would you just do that just before you eat it, would you
I think
say?
it depends on your preference. I usually stick it in and then I'll probably add a bit more when I'm eating it if it doesn't feel oily enough. Some people really find they don't like that kind of oily taste and find it too much, so they probably just do it.
It's quite a big portion here, Laura.
This would definitely last.
Our bowl isn't big enough for me to stir.
This I would say would
good.
last for kind of three days.
Not for me, it wouldn't.
Okay, right.
I could sit and eat the whole thing.
You could eat it, but if you're kind of thinking lunch and portion sizes, probably maybe 2 days actually. It's hard to see when it's kind of in that kind of bowl.
Yeah, I kind of don't stop when it's salad.
Yeah, so it's just really a case of just...
For normal people, maybe it would last you like 3 days. For me, maybe just one evening. I could probably get through that.
Yeah.
I won't taste it now, but I will taste it afterwards. Laura, thank you so much. It smells amazing, looks lovely, and so healthy.
I know, it is. It's nice and bright and vibrant.
But we do have time for a couple of questions,
lovely.
if you don't
Good.
mind. Yeah, we've got a
Always like
couple of minutes.
questions.
Just try and whiz through.
Good, love questions.
Okay, so these don't have anything to do with stress necessarily.
Okay.
Let me find them. Okay, question 1, Laura. As a nutritionist, what are things that you should keep in your pantry, this person's asking?
Oh, okay. So, quinoa.
Yes, definitely.
A bag of dry quinoa, olive oil, spices are always, you can easily make a meal. I usually have tins of things like chickpeas, olives, and you can kind of make a meal, lentils, the staple kind of pulses, and then I find those are quite easy, and then I supplement with a lot of vegetables.
Yes.
And then,
Which you buy nice and fresh from.
exactly, meat and fish.
Okay. Next question. This person's asking, what are some foods I should watch out for during my pregnancy? I'm not sure if she means don't eat or I should be eating. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, fine.
A bit of both.
This is kind of close to my heart because A, I'm pregnant.
Yes.
B,
she's not bloated because of stress.
yes.
This is actually a little baby.
That's what I was thinking when I was talking about stress, right? Tell me around the middle.
Okay.
And B, I actually work for a gynecology firm doing all their early pregnancy patients.
Oh, okay.
So I speak to
nice.
pregnant women most days.
Yeah.
When you're pregnant, you have to be wary of raw food. That's kind of the biggest thing because it can cause risk to you for food poisoning. So it's things like raw meat, undercooked, raw eggs, fish, that kind of stuff. High levels of caffeine can be detrimental. Alcohol, obviously, the advice is to not have it. But I also think it's really important to think what you can eat because I think we're very, very negative. You're pregnant, suddenly you can't eat any of these food groups and everything's off limits. It's really important to think actually, making sure that you're trying, if you can, because you're not feeling too sick, trying to include as much fresh food as you possibly can. And variety is really, really key and kind of getting your good fats in there as well. So
Brilliant. Okay. And we've got time for one more, Laura.
Great.
If you can answer it in 30 seconds.
Okay.
I have recently been diagnosed with anemia, but I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat red meat. What should I eat instead?
Okay. Most important thing then is to supplement. You have to make sure you're having an iron supplement. And if you've been given a diagnosis, your doctor will have done that. Again, lentils, dates, dried figs.
Dates, really? Okay.
Dark green leaves, all really good. Something called blackstrap molasses, which is an end product of sugar refining, is really, really, really high in iron. A teaspoon of that every day, completely vegan, tastes quite nice. That would be good as well.
I've got a jar of that at home, and it's like I got into the habit of taking some, and then I just got out of the habit.
It's quite a strong taste.
Start that. Yeah, it is.
But if you've got anemia and you're vegan,
I know it's okay, it's just a vegetarian, but I smother it all over chicken as well because I think it tastes quite nice, and it makes the chicken go nice and brown.
Yeah, I've never done
Just
that.
a little
It's a good idea. So I'm going to try that. It's a really good idea.
It's really nice.
Not for that lady.
Not for this lady, no. Okay, anything else before we go? Okay.
I think that's probably
Laura, thank you so much. You've been amazing. I can't wait to taste the salad. It's just making
it
me
does
really,
smell good,
really,
doesn't it?
It smells delicious. And we'll see you again very soon.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, so don't go away, because after the break, Dr. Rob Hicks tells us how to reduce stress on the body's joints, a leading cause of osteoarthritis. And I'll be hearing from our good cause of the week, bereavement charity Grief Encounter. But first, what does a broken heart and an octopus have in common? There is a link, so tune in after the break to find out what it is. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, the TV program that looks after your mental health and well-being. Now, before the break, I asked you what a broken heart and an octopus have in common. The answer? Well, in Japan, broken heart syndrome is called octopus trap cardiomyopathy because the left ventricle balloons out in a peculiar tentacled shape. There's your answer. Now, when we think of stress, we often think of the mental side, the sleepless nights, the lack of energy, the anxiety, but we mustn't forget about the physical side. Running, weightlifting, even just repetitive motions can increase stress on the joints and risk developing osteoarthritis. Here, Dr. Rob Hicks helps us understand the condition in doctor's orders.
Hello and welcome to Doctor's Orders here at the Chrissy B Show. I'm Dr. Rob Hicks. Today we're going to be talking about osteoarthritis. This is a problem of the joints that causes them to become pain and stiff. In fact, osteoarthritis is the commonest form of arthritis, and generally speaking, it affects the knees, the hips and the spine. But saying that, osteoarthritis can affect any joint in the body. The problem with osteoarthritis is it not only causes pain and stiff joints, but actually it lessens a person's mobility and their ability to do everyday things. So for example, it can be a struggle to simply turn on a tap, or to open a jar of jam, or even to get dressed, to do up buttons. In addition to that, then of course it may affect a person's independence, and also it affects their self-esteem emotionally and their self-confidence, and the likelihood is they're more likely to develop depression, as somebody is with any long-term condition that actually can't be cured. So what actually causes osteoarthritis? Well, it develops after there's been some damage to the joint that the body can't repair fully. So this damage may be a result of a joint injury, it may be the result of people carrying too much weight, so there's excess pressure on the joints and that causes the damage, or it may be because of repetitive movements, whether that's through work or play or sport of a particular joint, and that causes the damage. The other thing is, of course, as we all get older, we're more likely to develop osteoarthritis, and for some people, although not all people with osteoarthritis, it can run in their family. So what can we do then to reduce our risk of developing osteoarthritis? Well, exercise is incredibly beneficial for the joints because it helps keep them strong and mobile and healthy. It also helps to lose a bit of weight if we need to, so that we relieve that excess pressure on the joints. And ideally, don't overuse a joint, the same joint time and time again, because of course that increases the chance of this condition developing. Now thankfully, there are lots of treatments available that can be used to keep osteoarthritis symptoms at bay and actually keep people active as they want to be. And the first thing is exercise. Now I know many people say, oh, I've got arthritis, I mustn't exercise my joints, it will damage them. Quite the reverse is true, unless of course you've been advised not to exercise by your doctor. Because in general, for the majority of people, exercise is good. It helps strengthen the muscles around the joints, it helps improve our well-being because of the release of the feel-good hormones endorphins, and actually exercise also helps to reduce pain as well. There's medication, painkillers, anti-inflammatories that can be used, and sometimes doctors will recommend injecting the joints with an anti-inflammatory. Physiotherapy is excellent to help somebody with osteoarthritis, and sometimes it becomes necessary to do some surgery. So for example, to replace the joint with a new one. Now, one of the things that's often overlooked is actually there are a multitude now of devices that can actually make life much easier for somebody who's got osteoarthritis. So it might be having an extension put on the taps so that you can use the taps more easily. It might be using a special device for opening a jam jar. It might be a special device for helping to do up buttons. Or it might simply be a vegetable peeler that's got a thicker handle, and that makes it easier to do the veg and peel the potatoes. So if you have got osteoarthritis, have a think about what things would help you. And what I say to people with arthritis is, what is it that the arthritis is stopping you from doing that you'd like to do? And then we make that our goal for you to achieve. And remember, what's important is to think positively, to keep active, and for you to be in control of your osteoarthritis, and not for your osteoarthritis to be in control of you. So if you need some advice about osteoarthritis, how to prevent it, how to treat it, how to make life easier with osteoarthritis, then do have a chat with your own doctor and seek their advice. And that's Doctor's Orders.
Thank you very much to Rob. Well, everyone, now I'm delighted to be joined by Hannah Abrahams of our Good Cause of the Week, Grief Encounter. Welcome to the show, Hannah.
Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you on. So tell us, what is Grief Encounter and what do you do?
So Grief Encounter is an organisation that was set up by somebody called Shelley Gilbert, and we work with families who've suffered bereavement.
Okay. Is it mainly children, or is it both adults and children?
It's both. We work very closely with children in either individual therapeutic settings. We also work with them in something called grief groups, where children come together of similar ages. And as therapists, we work in supporting them through their grief.
How long have you been there with this particular organisation?
About 4 years.
And what made you want to sort of go into that? Because people watching might be thinking, oh, that's quite a sort of like dark sort of area to work in and stuff, and you don't really want to talk about sort of grief. But why is it so important to, to work in that kind of thing?
You've touched on it actually, because it is. So I'm a psychologist, and I think I've, through all of my work, I know how important it is for children to feel free to talk about things. And it's very much about sort of getting rid of this elephant in the room. So I think if we think about sort of how we talked about death, previously we used to really shy away from it, and children used to not necessarily be talked to about whether, if somebody close to them has died, because adults in particular found it very, very difficult to. And what we know is it's actually really important, because children have the most incredible imaginations, and they can build up scenarios in their heads about things that aren't necessarily true. So it's providing a safe space for these children really to explore the most difficult times in their lives.
And do you find sometimes it's quite difficult at the beginning to get children to open up, or do you find that when they're in that safe environment, they can just sort of, just talk about what's worrying them, their fears?
I think it depends very much on the individual child. What can be sort of, I remember when I first started working, what can be quite shocking is you might work with, for example, a little one, like a 3 or 4 year old, and they'll just come up to you and they'll say, my daddy's dead. And then they'll go off and they'll start their colouring, because that's how these children work. But there are other children who won't necessarily talk about losing their mother or their father or a sibling for a very long time. And it's for us as therapists to really create that environment where they feel safe to explore those feelings.
Can you give us a few examples of how you actually do that? Is it through like art or anything like that, drawing or other things?
Yes, we use lots and lots of different ways of sort of exploring grief with children. It can be through art, through drama.
Drama as well.
Yes. And at Grief Encounter, we've actually got the most incredible resources in terms of storybooks. So Grief Encounter have written some of the books themselves, and we also use kind of children's books as well. And using those as an opening. So you're not necessarily talking to that child about the loss of their parent, but it's a more global opening to talking about those feelings and to label those feelings, because as children don't really know how to talk about sadness or anger, or those words aren't necessarily in their vocabulary to start with.
And what kind of impact has your work been having on these children? What sort of things have you seen and experienced?
I think the most memorable things really is when children come to the end of that therapeutic space, and we talk with them in evaluation really about how they found it. And a lot of those children talk about the fact that it's, in inverted commas, it's made it more normal for them, because they know that other children around them have suffered a similar loss, because often they feel like they're the only one. And we know that in a classroom of 30 children, one of those children is likely to have lost somebody in their family. So I think it's knowing that we've created something that has been supportive for them and helping them to move forward to have a new kind of normal, really.
And how important is it for a child to get that kind of support? Because sometimes people might think, oh, my child's not really talking about it, so they must be okay. But what are the signs that you should look out for that actually this child does need some help and does need some support?
I'm a real advocate for this sort of work. And I think, you know, in my experience, often the children who aren't talking are the ones that we need to be most concerned about. Yeah. Because their behaviours can display that sort of angst and that anxiety and that worry in all sorts of other ways. An example I might give you is a little boy who lost his father, and he was insisting on wanting to call his mother sort of every half an hour at school to make sure that she was still breathing. So the fear in him was just so immense.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's really heartbreaking. And just if anyone wants to get more involved with Grief Encounter, whether to help or to get support, what would they do?
Grief Encounter always asks for volunteers. We've got a fantastic website that you can have a look at. And in terms of volunteering, we are looking for sort of people who are therapists who are willing to come and work on we do Mother's Days and Father's Days, just to remember those people that the children and the families have lost. And there's also helplines as well. So if this has triggered something for any people watching, that we're at the end of the phone.
Brilliant. Hannah, thank you so much for coming and talk about Grief Encounter, and all the best with everything you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, or maybe you are a good cause yourself, you're doing something amazing for other people, whether you're a charity, a business or an individual, do get in touch with us. You can email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Until next time, bye for now.